Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Nishmas Mordechai. Welcome to all the guests. You know, there's a guest seat over here also. How you doing? This is Shlomi Dax learning the daf before his band played at the wedding last night. It's a big part of the shir.
Yeah, you know that.
It says over here, reported in this week's Muncie Mevasser, you can see on the right side, the Weinrib family joined hundreds. Muncie, MDY Siyum, Daf Yomi, the Weinrib, all the way. Oh, the ganze Mishpacha, I didn't have. I know the one on the left. What else do we have here? These last 2 weeks were a real boot camp in Emunah for anyone zoicha to be living in Eretz Yisrael. On top of everything else going on around us, we on the team tirelessly work to make sure that no matter what, early alert, sirens, no sleep, the missiles falling around us, the daf and the shir would go on. My son, a bacher at TC, recently started doing the daf during his free time. He doesn't usually have the technology to watch the shir in yeshiva, but when he can, he's always eager to join by Zoom or all daf. This last Erev Shabbos, when we got an alert just before lighting, we both instinctively grabbed our gemaras and ran to the mamad. When my young daughter saw us learning, oh, by the way, Rabbi Isai, tremendous. First of all, a good chodesh, everybody. Today is a very, very special day. Today is 2,000 daf into Shas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, today is 2,000 brachas. So whoever started brachas, now I want to see for real, who started with us in brachas? All you guys could come on the cruise. The rest of you are not invited. Ari, all of a sudden the hands start coming up.
What about those who joined before?
Those who's joined before, certainly it's a kavach. Listen, if you do the daf, you know what a kavach is. It's a kolchkeit.
It's a how much more so? How much more so?
Oh, who? 73rd birthday today. Hebrew or English? Hebrew or English? Hebrew. Oh, bracha. Rabbi Razan, bracha.
We should all be zeichet together to do many dafim, and we got to keep shteiging. Nothing like the Daf Yomi, and nothing like Rebellious Shir.
Woo! Shkoyach, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. This last Erev Shabbos, when we got an alert just before lighting, we're building the Gemaras. Grab the Gemaras. When my young daughter saw us learning, they greeted us with Geshmak. Good morning, Rabbi Isai. They're going back to using these rooms for only bedrooms and storage. Thanks for all of you and your team. Do make sure that each Yomi has the daf, Yeshua Feldman. Real quickly, so Ari Chaimowitz came here to do a what a day in Hebrew. Very, very successful. People that saw both thought that the Hebrew might have been even better. So there's a scene in there where he breaks down, made me break down also, and he says that he hates Gemara. And because he hates Gemara, he watches the shir, he never missed a day in over a year, but he doesn't look into the Gemara. He just looks on the screen. So he explained why. He says that he was in a cheder in Yerushalayim, and they started learning Gemara the first week. So the Rebbe brought donuts, not stam donuts, the ones from the Brooklyn Bake Shop, the ones that have a hole in the middle, American donuts. And he brought the donuts and he gave every single one in the class besides to him and one other kid. Shh. Besides to him and this other kid. So he says that wasn't the worst part. Once he got that, somebody started singing, Bismikana, Bismikana, you're Makana, you're jealous, and the whole class started screaming, you're Makana. And he started crying. That's the scene that a lot of people get emotional. He made me cry. Bekitzer, so last night, Brooklyn Bake Shop sent donuts for everybody. He gave a bunch of donuts, and they gave him a voucher, 250 vouchers. Whenever he wants, he can come get a free donut by them. So one with a hole. So the kids we wish Ari Chaimowitz to get over his trauma. One Rebbe that doesn't know what he's doing, one Rebbe can mess up a kid's life. It's unbelievable. It should be like, you have to go to school for like a little bit in order to be a mechanech of the next generation. The Masechta is sponsored by Anonymous. Hatzlacha Berukhin Zivigashim Zechus Achinu B'nei Yisrael.
And a Rebbe can build a kid's life.
100%. Look what I'm doing to you. May our learning be a shield of protection and a source of unity and blessing Am Yisrael.
I didn't realize that's what this is. You're building.
You need chap. It'll take you a few years. Listen, the Gemara says it takes 40 years to chap. It takes 40 years to chap. Joel Gedalius, Yehudit nishmas, my father, Jack Gedalius. Welcome back.
Okay.
Monthly sponsors TCS Israel. I'm the Talmud. TCS Israel, powered by talking.
Maybe one day you'll be saying.
I will. Yoni Klestzick, Refuah Sheleimah, Mrim, Esther, Pärl, Prädel, Pesel. Weekly sponsors anonymous the Binyomin Dessau keep shteiging. The daily sponsors, Lawrence Dayan, dedicated in honor of Esther bat Cila and Mordechai ben Yehudit on their wedding day. Mazel tov. I think so. Anonymous, Eli nishmas, Leib ben Moshe Gros, Olav Shalom. Anonymous, Eli nishmas, Naomi bas Rivka. I hope it's not the same Anonymous, because I know who this Anonymous is. Refuah Sheleimah, Mordechai, everybody together. We need a big Refuah Sheleimah. Refuah Sheleimah, Mordechai ben Esther. It's a very, very big part of MDY. You should have a Refuah Sheleimah. Shia Glick, in honor of Hershey Lichtenstein, for starting the Daf. Keep it up. The nishmas Chana Basil Yaakov Levin, on a yahrzeit, transplanted from Ponovich, Lithuania to America, was able to raise a family of many daughters of Bnei Torah and Yirei Shomayim by her grandson Peretz Chaim Levin. MDY Kids Monthly, Innovation Schus official Elchanan Akiva, and Rivki and Mrs. Stefansky. Art of the month, Refuah Sheleimah for Yonatan Eitan ben Bashav Bracha, for Schus Rebellion, the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so joyful so many, in honor of Yossi Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. Rabbi said we should probably shut off those coffee machines when Shir starts, no? It's a good idea. So somebody be in charge of that, and Be'ez Hashem, we won't have that noise during Shir.
In about 10 minutes, you can shut it.
Zogt the Heilige Gemara. We have an unbelievable daf today, Mamish Agadita. We're holding in the middle of the sugya of Nocham Hamadi. Nocham Hamadi, everything he said, any halacha he said, they knocked him down. They said, nah, take it out, cut it out, tishtakach, let it be forgotten. Oh, I have a shaila for the oilam. According to the Torah, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Chicken.
Nobody says the egg? Anybody want to say an egg? Usually we have a machloikis. Who says the chicken? Why? Why do you say chicken?
Fully formed. Everything was created.
Oh, fully formed. Very good. Very good. That's the answer I was looking for. Good. Okay, so it wasn't a trick question. Zog the Heilige Gemara. Oh, so we're holding by like Tefillah Lani really, because we're in middle, smack in the pasuk. So the Gemara says like this, that yes, there's one thing, says the Gemara, that Nocham Hamadi said, that they didn't knock him out. But guess what? It wasn't his chidush. It's something from a previous generation. That what? That says, first you should say your own tzrachim, daven for your own private things, and afterwards daven. So hopefully today we'll see a few chidushim of how Shemona Esrei should work, how your tefillah should work. Everybody has their personal things that we want to daven. Where do you daven for it? At what point is Shemona Esrei? There's really Shemea tefillah. There's three places that you could daven for. There's in the middle of Shemona Esrei. Let's say you want to daven for Parnasa. You want to daven for Parnasa. Where do you daven for Parnasa? Just you answer me. Where do you daven for Parnasa? What? Shema Krileinu. There's a better one. Oh. Baruch Aleinu. Where do you daven for good brains and Torah? Chayren. Where do you daven that you should be able to do tshuva? Okay, fine. You get the idea. So, but there's Shemea Tefillah, like you said. But there's even better than Shemea Tefillah, which is at the end of Shemona Esrei. By Lukai. And why it's better, and it seems from the Gemara that Shemea Tefillah is better. But these are the places that you can daven. So says the Gemara, we have a machlokes here. It's actually a three-way machlokes. Should you say all your tefillas before davening? Come to shul, you say all your tefillas, then you daven Shemona Esrei. Or you say Shemona Esrei, and after davening you say your tefillas. Or you say in the middle of Shemona Esrei. So it's three different things. Rabbi Nachman Hamadi says you say your tefillah by Shema Krileinu, in middle. And we paskin like him. But we see that it's already from a previous generation because it says, first, the Oni, he says it's tefillah b'tzar. So what comes first? Yatov, your personal, and then Shemona Esrei. And Sicha l'tefillah, Sicha is the Shemona Esrei, shenemar v'yetze Yitzchak l'suach basada. L'suach means he went to daven. The Zohar in Parshas Bois says a very interesting thing. Where did Yitzchak go? The Zohar says he went to Maris HaMachpelah. They had a reich of Gan Eden, and he saw the Shechina over there. So the Zohar says, how come Avram Avinu didn't go there? Because Avram Avinu had a Mokim Kavua. Like his Mokim Kavua is more important than going. He probably also had the Shechina or whatever, but Zog the Gemara, Rabbi Shua Omer, Yispalel v'achach yishal tzorachim. He argues. He says, no, first comes Shemona Esrei, then comes your private tzorachim. Shenemar eshberch lefanov sichi. Sichi, we said a Shemona Esrei. After Shemona Esrei, tzarasi lefanov agid. Yeah, and we say it in. We used to say it. Now we say it Shir Lamalois, Esoya Einai. But in Memakim, yeah, tzarasi lefanov agid. Maskil David. Oh, not in. Yeah, you're right. And Mamish don't know. Tzara Zilafon Agid, which is your personal tefillah, your tzara. So first comes Shemona Esrei, according to him, then comes the tefillah. Very well, but what is each one going to do with the other one's pasuk? They're going to be stuck. They're going to answer it in some way. But since you can answer it in some way, then we don't have a clear raya which way it should be done. Do you daven first, and then Shemona Esrei, and then you daven? So far, we don't see Reb Nachum Hamadi Shita, which is neither. Just do it, smack in middle Shemona Esrei. Lezer Ksiv, Eshbek Lefon of Sichi, Shemona Esrei comes first. Hachi Go Amar, Eshbek Lefon of Sichi, when do you daven Shemona Esrei? Bisman Tzarasi Lefon of Agid. I could answer, no. You daven Shemona Esrei after I already spilled out what? Oh, the Rosh Koilel is back, Rabbi Isai. Welcome to Rosh Koilel. Rabbi Shua Nami Oksiv Tefillah Loni Ki Yatoiv. You see that the private tefillah comes first. By the way, there's a Maisa. They say that a wealthy guy, he wanted to be the Chazan Yom Kippur. You know how that goes. He had the voice of a frog. The Kitzer, but he insisted, he's the guy that supports the whole show, he insisted. So Rav told him, listen, it says Tefillah LeMoshe, it says Tefillah LeDavid, it says Tefillah Lani. Moshe Rabbeinu, you're not a Talmud Chacham. You're a Chazan like David HaMelech, Tefillah LeDavid, you're not. Elamai, you're Tefillah Lani. You want to be an Ani? Good, go ahead, daven for the Amud. Ah, okay, no, I don't. Hachi Kamar. That's the same kind of idea. When Shemona Esrei was first, then you could go ahead and daven your own private. B'kitzur, I could go both ways. The psukim could go either way. It's not 100% like one. But Michael Mifliki. So where's the machlokes? Kidarish Reb Simloi, like Reb Simloi, Darish and the Darish Reb Simloi. Lo'ilam Yisader Adam Shivcha Shlom Makoi V'Achkach Yispalel. First, you say the first three brachas of Shemona Esrei. That's to give praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And after that, you daven. And not only would I learn this from Moshe Rabbeinu. The Chsiv, Hashem Elokim Ata Achiloisa Laharis is Avdecha. Look at this pasuk full of shvach, mamish like in a Shemona Esrei. As Godlecha, Hagadol, Hagibor, as Godlecha, as Yotcha Chazaka, Asher Mikil B'Shomayim Oretz, Asher Yasek Masechu K'V'Resecho. So first he gave HaKadosh Baruch Hu a lot of shvach like we do in Shemona Esrei, the first three. Uchsiv Basrein. Only afterwards, Eber Nov Era, I beg you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a private davening. Could I please go into Eretz Yisrael? Daf Amud Aleph. Reb Shua Sovar Yalfina Moshe. Reb Shua says we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu that first comes from an Esrei, then comes your private tefillah. Reb Lezer Sovar Lo Yalfina Moshe. There's nothing you could personally learn from Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? Shani Moshe the Rav Guvrei. Moshe Rabbeinu was a great man. He was a tremendous person, the greatest Yid that ever lived. And if you want to act like him, it looks a little bit like Gaiva. You are. I have trauma. The Rosh Koilel, you have to be moichel me. We had yesterday the editor. He's in his 20s, and I asked him before. I said, I'm speaking to people like you. They say, what's the common denominator between a very young person who wears a frock and an ambulance? So that the person who wears a frock, they both have two back doors, and they have a sick person inside. My father used to wear a frock. I used to make him crazy. What are you wearing this frock? He said, no, I used to give a shir in Shayashav. And then Rabbi Freifeld made me wear a frock. I said, but you don't give a shir in Shayashav. Like, get rid of it. He finally got rid of it. Now he doesn't wear a frock. Now he just wears a talus. I'm not going to go into that one. Trauma. I have frak trauma. What do you want from me? Not a gavarava, not a Rosh Koilel. I'm talking about a young guy, 25-year-old, walks around on Yontif, these guys. Okay. Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Shmuel. Halach is shoyel adam srochav b'shemei atfilah.
He wants a frak.
I got a frak. I had a frak. I stood up here in shir with a frak. You don't remember? And I turned around. I have a frak. I have a frak. El shoyel adam, give me a red frak. El shoyel adam srochav b'shemei atfilah. Omer Rav Yehuda Shmuel. Oh. The Chacham Mrim. Here goes. Here's Nachum Amadi.
You will buy you an ambulance.
Lo kedivrei zeh v'lo kedivrei zeh. Chacham say, I don't hold like this shita that you daven before Shemona Esrei. I don't like this shita you daven after Shemona Esrei. Ela shoyla, my Rosh Hashiva, Zol Zayin Gezun Stark, Remei Stern from Passaic. Wears a short jacket. It's chashiv. To me, it's chashiv. With the down hat, short jacket, love it. Ela shoyla mitzrocha b'shemei atfilah. You ask, Yitzrochim says, say Chachamim, not before, not after. Smack in middle by Shemei Atfilah. Omer Rav Yehuda Shmuel, Halacha Shoylo Mitzrochim b'Shemei Atfilah. Yesterday, Rabbi said, when I asked the question at the end of the shir, I said, there's a shayla, could you say, Omer Yeshmei Rabba? Where did I ask that question? In what part of Shemei Atfilah? You heard Shemei Atfilah? Anybody else here, you heard Shemei Atfilah? Good. You all heard it. Great. Okay, no, my chavrusa was standing here and he says, you didn't say in Shemei Atfilah? I said, I did. He says, we made a $1,000 bet, and I went back to the video, it says Shemei Atfilah. You owe me $1,000. You tell him. You heard here in the shir, I didn't say anything beforehand. These guys, I don't make bets. I never bet in my life, not once, and I'm not going to take a cent from him. It was just, I said, how could you argue on something that's on video? I said, but I have a bad memory, and he has a great memory, so I thought, okay, maybe I talk about it. But no, Chamo. Shemei Atfilah is a place where you open up HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you say whatever you want. You should say it's short, kurz and sharf, where in a second we're going to see, when you daven at the end of Shemona Esrei, over there you can go as long as you want. What?
Do Chachamim source it? It's saying Rabbi Eliezer.
Oh, you mean what's the puzzle?
Yeah.
Shemei Tefillah is your tefillah. I don't know. It's good shaila. That's what maybe it's a.
It's parentheses.
It's the place. That's the place that you speak. By the way, here we're gonna get to it. Even though you're supposed to daven by Shemei Tefillah, if you want to say, says Rashi, if you forget you're learning, I found out yesterday that I have to do tshuva on something. Today, this morning, I did tshuva, but not by Shemona Esrei yet. I'll tell you the story soon. So where do you make this bracha? So you say Ata Choinen Lodam Das. You have to say the whole thing right before Baruch Atah Hashem Choinen Das. Stick it in, not before. First you say the Ata. You say the whole part. Baruch Aleinu. Right before Mevarach Hashanim, then you say your thing.
It says Marich, but it's Marich.
Where?
I'm saying Rashi is saying that's Marich.
Yeah, but it's not a marich. No, they're saying that marich, you make it longer than it is. It doesn't mean like you go crazy for 25 minutes.
I'm saying what
You stick in your own piece, your own private piece into the individual bracha. You know of a sick person, you stick in Refuah Sheleimah. Huh? Yeah, right. I mean, but it should be, you should say the piece first. You have to. Yeah, half of it. The point is before Baruch Atah Hashem, and after some point not smack in the middle. It has to be like I would say, right, before the Chasima, like you finish the paragraph, there's a place to stop. If there's a place to stop by Refuah Sheleimah, so you stop over there. Even though you're supposed to daven by Shemei Tefillah, you have a sick person, you should daven for him by Birkas Cholim. So it's interesting that the Ravid says on this Gemara, you get some people, they wait to Shemei Tefillah. Says the Ravid, it's also to wait for the Shemei Tefillah. If you have a personal problem, you see that your memory is going, go to the doctor, you're starting to, early signs of something terrible. You daven by Chonin Adas right away. You don't wait to Shemei Tefillah, says the Ravid. It's Osir. That's his shita. You don't wait to Shemei Tefillah here. You go right away by Birkas Hashanim. Oh, so this is more la halacha. By the end of Shemoneh Esrei. Now, where the end of Shemoneh Esrei is, everybody should ask the Rav. It seems from the Mishabura that by Yula Ratzain, between Yula Ratzain, you say one Yula Ratzain, then you say your things, then you say another Yula Ratzain. According to the Vilna Gaon, once you say the words Yula Ratzain Refi, you're done with Shemoneh Esrei, so you can't daven anymore for you in Shemoneh Esrei. So you say it right before Yula Ratzain. Everybody in their own thing. But 1 minute, at the end of Shemoneh Esrei, all the way at the end of Shemoneh Esrei, you stick in all your tefillos, and as many as you want, as long as you want, like Keseder Yom Kippurim. Seems like by Shomei Tefillah you shouldn't do it. Now, something very important. My very good friend, Reb David over here, I asked him a few times, or at least once. He davens along Shemoneh Esrei. So the Bir Halacha talks about this and says, I'm a supik if you're allowed to start Shemoneh Esrei where you know that you're going to miss Kedusha. I have a suffix, he says. So it's a problem. I asked him, I said, have you ever said Kedusha in your life? He says, yeah, once or twice. No, he didn't say it like that. I don't know. I'll ask him again. Because every single day, he finishes Shemoneh Esrei somewhere in the middle of Chazar Hashatz. So he doesn't get to say Kedusha. Could you daven like that? So that's why I'm just bringing it up here, not to shtach Reb David, because he knows what he's doing, and he looked it up, and I know he knows what he's doing. But it's better to daven, that's what they say, it's better to daven your own private things at the end of Shemoneh Esrei by the kind tzar. So like this, you don't miss Kedusha. You hear the Chazar Shat starting, so you finish up your private things, and you're done, and you get to say Kedusha. If you get all bogged down by Shemei Tefillah, you might have a big problem. All of a sudden, your Maidim is 22 seconds. You're running. That's why they say it's better to daven at the end of the Shemoneh Esrei. What do you want to say about that? Nothing?
Answer Kedusha and Elokai Netzar.
Oh, if you're Elokai Netzar.
That's what he's saying. That's exactly
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. However, I don't think you're Elokai Netzar for 25 minutes, unless you are. He's giving me the eyes. Yes, he is. Okay, I learned a new thing about Reb David. Yes.
If you say all your tefillos before the first Yehudit On, then you can't say Kedusha because you haven't said Yehudit On yet.
No, but you could just say one pasuk and you're done. I'm saying you have enough time to say that one pasuk. But if you say by Shemei Tefillah, you don't have enough time to run through the whole. Usually, you're not going to have enough time to do Moedim and V'chol HaChayim and Sim Shalom and the kind of are all before Kedusha. Says the Heilige Mishnah. Okay, Rabbi Isai, we have a lot to accomplish here. I got the sugya. We did this already, and we're doing Chazar right now. These are the holidays that the idol worshippers have. Kalenda, Bistarnura. So they say Starnura is actually a holiday based on Saturn. That they used to worship Saturn, and that actually flipped into what today is Kratzmach. It has the same kind of things. They used to give gifts to each other, and but it lasted 8 days. Today they shortened it, and that's where they base it on.
With the red frock.
With the red frock and a green hat. Vistarnura, v'kratesim, v'yom genusa shemalachim. The beginning of a kingdom. V'yom aleida. We know what a yom aleida is. It's this. I think that's a play on that bobblehead. If anybody wants to see a real Avodah Zarah, I have one in my house. It's a bobblehead they made of me that I was wearing a shrine or something like that. So maybe one day I'll bring it. V'yom Amisa, the day of the death of the king. Divrei Rebbe Meir. V'chachamim ma'imrim kol misa sheyesh bo sreifa yesh ba Avodah Zarah. Oh, love this picture. If you burn the king's stuff, like his teddy bear and his gold bike, all these things, that's a sign that they really hold of this king, and it's a day that the makriv korbanos to the Avodah Zarah. It's a day that you don't do business with the Avodah Zarah. If there's no burning stuff, no Avodah Zarah. Rabbi side. There's only one comment per share, please. So when it comes to now, Rabbi, if you have a pencil, you take a pencil, put it inside the Mishnah right here. We are switching gears. We're going away from the king. We're going to a private person. The day that you shave his beard. So unfortunately, this is what Yoshi did in the beginning. I said this is wrong because we're not talking about a king. So it has to be this. Even of course a king, but even a regular person. We're not talking about kings now. The day that you shave your beard, ubloirisoi. What's a bloiris? So the Hasidim say that bloiris is a chup, blorit. But we're talking about the ponytail. They used to shave the whole head besides leave a ponytail. If he took a voyage on the ocean and he came out unharmed, he makes his own private simcha, this Avodah Zarah. The day he comes out of jail. And the wedding day, we're going to see in the Gemara, this could actually last for a whole year. People party a year, and even before the wedding, it can be a long time, 2 years. But it's only Asr that day, and the person getting married, the father, whatever, the mishpacha, not other people. Says Rav Chana bar Rava, Kalenda Shmoni Yomim Achar Tkufa, Stanura Shmoni Yomim Lefnei Tkufa. What happened, as we're going to see in the Gemara, that this all started from Adam Rishon. Adam Rishon thought he was in a tinus for 8 days, and then he gave Shvach HaKadosh Baruch Hu for 8 days. We're going to see in a second. I'm just saying it's not complicated. There's 4 seasons, we all know since we're kids, there's 4 seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter. So if you take the winter season, which lasts for 3 months, Tevis Shvat Adar, 8 days before it begins, before Tevis, is one holiday for the idol worshippers. And when it ends, 3 months, Tevis Shvat Adar, at the end, another 8-day holiday. It looks something like this. The one before is called Starnura, it's 8 days right before, and there's 8 days after. Great.
The word
Calendar, right.
starts from December 23rd,
Yeah.
which is the Tkufa, 2 days Tosaf's after 8.
Yeah.
It says it was after the solstice, and it goes to January 1st. And that's the Roman calendar.
It goes all the way to January 1st. From when? From the December 23rd to January 1st, calendar. Okay, great.
That's the opposite
Oh,
of
was
this.
that full? That's 8 days.
Calendar over here is
The second.
seconds before.
No, maybe it adds up. Tevis Shvat Adar. Oh no, it's not December. No.
According to what the Bible says, it's the full.
By the way, we're in some sort of right now today is some part of the Tkufa. It's like I know that the Tkufa started a few days ago, but we're like something with the Tkufa today. I don't remember what. The Kurtesim. V'yoyim geinusa shel melachim. No, I said this already. Oh, v'simonach. Achor v'kedem tzartani. So if you notice, look at this. In English, we say before and after. Nobody ever says after and before, right? The way you talk, before and after. Yet in the Mishnah, it brings the after and then the before. So if you want to remember which one goes first in the Mishnah, it's the after, then before, because it's different than what we typically speak. V'simanim, there's actually a pasuk like that. Achar, after, v'kedem, and before, tzartani. You created me. Tana Rabbana. So here it comes. Where did they get this holiday? Like a lot of their holidays, even Hanukkah / this, a lot of things they took from Yiddishkeit, from this, even Muslims, whatever. They know it, they'll tell you straight out. They took this from Adam Rishon. Imagine you're born, you're put on this world, you have nobody. You don't have any information. Although Adam Rishon had all the information, he was already pre-wired, he knew the Kol HaTorah Kula and everything. All of a sudden he sees that the days are getting shorter and shorter. What is going on here? Omar Oili Shema Shesarachti, maybe because I did an Aveira, Oilim Chashach Ba'adi, the world is going to be dark. It's Hashem's way of doing it. Slowly, and all of a sudden, lights out. The Chayzel L'Toyevay, and the world is going to go back to where it came from. V'zui Misa Sheniknas Alayim and Hashemayim. This is the death Hashem promised me. Omad V'yoshav Shmoni Yomim B'tainis u'B'tfila. He got up, he sat there for 8 days straight, fasting and davening. Kivin Shurot Kufas Tevis. Tevis comes around. V'ro Yom Shemarach V'ayilach. And then he sees that the days are getting longer. V'ayilach. Omar Menag Shalaylamu. Oh, this must be something to do with the stars and the moon and the sun and all the different things going on. Okay, that's the Minhag Olam. So then he made a celebration of 8 days. And the following year, so both 8 days and 8 days became Yom Tov. Says Gemara, Hu Kvarm L'Shem Shamayim, Adam Rishon did it L'Shem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to give thanks. V'im Kvarim L'Shem Avodah Zarah. They took this idea, the 8 and the 8, they did it for Avodah Zarah. Says Gemara, Bishlam Amad Omar B'Tishrei Nivra Olam. The machlokes if Adam Rishon was born in Rosh Chodesh Tishrei or Rosh Chodesh Nisan. If you say he was born in Tishrei, Yom Yisud Chaza, Yom Arike Lo Akati Lo Chaza. So then he saw the short days, he didn't see the long days. El Amad Omar Ben Nisan Nivra Olam. What if he was created in Rosh Chodesh Nisan? Then he did see the longer days, the shorter days. That says Gemara, the happy kulis high, zute high, kuli high, loy chaza. But he didn't see such short days. The really short days, then he started getting nervous. The same concept. That day, his first day. Different things are going on. There's a wind, the sun, there's a moon. What's going on? He's sitting there on earth, looking around. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, the sun goes down, it disappears, it becomes dark. Omar, oily. What's going to be? Because I made an Aveira, I did an Aveira, I ate from Eitz Adas. I ruined it, I destroyed the world. And this is the death that Hashem promised me. He sat there crying the entire night. Doesn't say that, cried the whole night. And Chava, a good wife, she sat across from him and she also cried the entire night, not for 5 minutes, the whole night. All of a sudden it starts getting light. Oh, I have nothing to worry about. The sun set over there, it's rising over there. Oh, there's something going on over here. Omad. So what do? He's like, oof, wow, okay, we got out of this. He brought a carbon shar shekarnav koidmin leparsoisav. He was makriv the first, the bull that was created in Sheshis Semei Bereshis, the only bull that has horns, that had horns before it had even hooves. Why? As Rashi says, and that's what you guys were mechaven to. Domar mar kol ma'aseh bereshis b'koimasam nivru. Everything in the creation was created as is, completely adults. Fully formed. Sharim karnov megudalim with horns. The shar had horns. He came out of the ground. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made everything from the earth. So he popped out of the ground. What came first? First thing pop out is the horns. Shenemar v'sitav l'Hashem is greater mishar, which is a complete shar. Par is already a 3-year-old animal. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the bull as a 3-year-old. A completely full bull.
Even Cain and Hevel came out fully formed.
Yeah, everybody, even Adam Rishon had.
They were born.
But think about it, Adam Rishon had children the first day. Right away, and they were born they were born fully formed.
We're all born fully formed.
As babies. Full size.
Not really, we don't have teeth, we don't have hair.
Full size.
Full size. V'sida Hashem is short part. They couldn't have been the full size of their mother.
No, they were. That's what it says. It says they were came out full size, adults. Not
adults,
babies.
right? Not babies, but not as large as their own parents. V'sida Hashem is the short part. Makri mafris. Makri mafris. It had horns. Yoshi did some sort of thing. It had one horn. Shenemar, not a unicorn, a unibull. You want to get Shenemar v'sitav Hashem is sharp par makrin mafris. Here it says the word makrin. Ask the Gemara, what do you mean? Makrin is plural. Makrin, tarti mashris, mashra too. Makron ksiv. If you take away the chirik under the reish, it could be mikaren, it could be one. The way it's written as one, as singular. Omer Rav Masna. So now we have a very short sugi here, asking a simple question: is it only the people that do Avodah Zarah, or it's also the people that are meshubet to the people that do Avodah Zarah? Let's say you have a slave. Let's say you have people that work for you, people that have to pay taxes. Omer Rav Masna. Roi mishasa kalenda. The Romans. Like today in Iran, let's say. Yeah, you have the Shah, the whatever they're called, these guys that rule, but you have all the Ayatollah, whatever. So you have they have like 10 groups in Iran that don't believe in that, right? But they're meshubed. They have to speak Parsi, they have to speak even though. So, what's the halacha? And they all have to pay the taxes and everything. Could you do business with these other guys? What are they called? There's a million of them. Kurds, the Labuchis, and
they have two Aron Kodesh. They have to have a Quran
Yeah.
in the base Knesset, in the Beit Knesset.
They have to
With
have-
two
okay.
Aron Kodesh. They have Persian. I know this.
And so what are they called? The Labuchis,
What are they called?
what are they called? The different groups, the ethnic
We're
groups.
in Iran.
Iran, right now. Azores and Radaris. Rabbi Shua ben Levi Omar. Bekitzer, everything's for us. Not soon enough. Rabbi Shua ben Levi Omar, Kalenda Sur La Korli. So one sheet is everybody you can't do business with any of them. Why? Because they're going to go and they're going to give the korbanos to the Romans. No, only the Romans themselves. We have a right to Rabbi Yochanan, and then the Gemara brings a long brisa. We don't really. The right is right away. Even though it's the Romans that do this, the calendar holiday, and all the cities next to it are, how do you say meshubed in English? Subjugated. It says Mufurish, only the Romans are Asr, and not anybody else. Okay, now we continue with the brisa. So and the day that the king became crowned, or over here it says both. The fun of Asr, Achrav Mutar, you can't do business before, you can do business after. In a wedding for a son, only to the son, to the father, and that's it. So Rav Ashi brings another right to Rabbi Yochanan. So we could learn from this bride the day that he shaves his beard and his ponytail, the day that you come back from a long, big trip over the ocean, you come out of jail and you make a party. And also, it's only that day, not before. And only the person that came out of jail. Now, my raya is, I understand that day. Why you tell me that day? Because you could do business with him 2 days before, 3 days before. You could do business afterwards. What? I would have a half a minute. The whole city has to celebrate. You came out of jail. You came from a long trip. You make a simcha. So it comes to say, no, the people that subjugated to him, his slaves, whatever, those people, not. So Mela, the Ayoris HaSmuchos, not. The cities, only the main city, the Romans, but the people that are subjugated to them, you could do business with them. Shema Mino. Rabbi I had a story, a story. Actually, it's a very sad story. My wife was in design school for a long time. I don't remember, a few years, a year, 2 years, 3 years, I don't remember anymore. We're in Chicago. It's a non-Jewish school. So she befriended one of the non-Jews over there. And they used to work together every day, all day in AutoCAD, building these models, like on top of the Aron Kodesh, you had to build models of hotels, of this, of that. A lot of hard work. And they became super, super friendly. They became Amish, they considered each other as best friends. Now, this woman, she decided, unfortunately, to get married. And she got married, and she invites my wife. She says, my wife, we're best friends, you have to come to the wedding. So my wife explains to her that the church, she says, no, don't worry about the church. Come to the Suda. We can't come to the Suda. No, I'm going to arrange everything. This is a very wealthy family. It was in Cipriani's in Manhattan. It's a nice place. And she says, I'm going to get you kosher food, mamish, top caterer. I'm going to get you a waiter. I'm going to get you the wine, the whole thing. This is 25 years ago. I don't know what I was thinking. It's like, Shumeva, mamish, my wife's best friend. Get on a plane, get a tux. I have to go rent a tux. I never did this. I go to this place.
It's like a frock, yeah?
Was I over Esther doiraisa? Was I over Esther d'Rabbanan? Did I do the right thing? Mishum Eva. You can't fight. You can't. Shaila. I'm asking you a Shaila. I'm posing a question. So I'll tell you this. Rav Yosef Paskin, and it says in Shulchan Aruch, I looked up in Shulchan Aruch, with an Arab, and you're good friends, and it's Eva, you're allowed to go to their wedding. But I'm telling you that the Maisa, when I saw this in the Gemara, even though I learned it a bunch of times before, it hit me this time the most. This is literally word for word what happened. We had a waiter standing right here, right by us. And he brought us a covered meal with all the stempels and everything, the best hechsher. We open it up. It's exact same meal that the non-Jews had, we had. The exact wine, but in kosher we had. Brings a fresh bottle. You open up, sir. Stood by us the entire time. Let's see the Gemara. Tanya. Rabbi Shmuel Oimer Yisrael shebechutz la'aretz oivdei avodah zarah b'taharaheim. The ones who live in chutz la'aretz, they're worshiping avodah zarah with pure intent. B'tahara. You hear this? B'tahara. Zok Rashi. Koloimar b'loy kavana ve'ein samim alev. Like Eli Stefansky 25 years ago. Had no clue. Clueless. Didn't ask a Rav. Shows up at the wedding. Yeah, listen, it's kosher food. What's the problem? There's other problems there. I'm not even going to go into the tznius thing, but what are you doing? You're being oived avodah zarah b'tahara, like a tzaddik. Ketzad? Oived k'chavim sh'asem mishta livnai, a guy or an idol worshiper is making a wedding. V'zimin kol ha'yudim shebi'iroi, and he invites all the Jews in the city. Avav b'shoichlin mishalahen. They're eating kosher food, the best achsher. V'shoisim mishalahem, and they're drinking kosher wine. V'shamosh shalahem, they have a waiter standing right there. I'm not making. Could go ask my wife right after shir. She became one of the most popular wedding designers. She charged like $100,000 a wedding. A wedding. That's what she, very successful. So, the Torah considers it it's as if you worshipped Avodah Zarah. So this is an idea of Avodah Zarah. So I was okay. Listen, she wasn't Avodah Zarah and this, and we're going through the whole thing. Christian, Tachlis, the Taz says. So you can be sorry on others, but according to the Taz, it's a big avera because he says the problem is not Avodah Zarah, the problem is chasnos. You don't go to one of their parties. So I have to do tshuva according to the Taz, and I did a little tshuva this morning, and I have to continue doing tshuva.
The food is kosher, but the venue is treif.
That's a different problem. The food is kosher, but the venue is treif. We had this we actually had a story like this once by Chashveirosh. Okay, fine. I call you and you eat from his Avodah Zarah. As a Gemara, maybe you have to eat Avodah Zarah. Over here he ate kosher food. It should just be talking about eating. I called you. Mishas kriya. Listen, if you just sit there, you don't eat, you're not over. It's okay. You could do that if you're, in the right setting. But the problem is sitting down and eating. You want to hear the kicker? This is unbelievable. I don't understand. I asked my wife about this. I said, am I dreaming that I'm coming up with this? She said, no. We got there. Where's our table? Chosin and Kala table. Ma'aseh Shoya. Chosin and Kala. Father of the Chosin, mother of the Kala, whatever. They were divorced. Eli and Hershey Stefansky sitting on the table. Ma'aseh with our own waiter standing by us the whole time. It was a very every person basically had one hour. Omar Rava im keinei makrov achaltem mizivchoi. Mai v'kar lecha. Mishas kriya. Hilkach. Daf Amud Beis. Kol tlosin yoimin. Bein Omar le machmas hilul bein lo yomar le machmas hilul asur. Rabbi say when you eat by somebody, it's like the Shevet Brachas. They have a 30-day Shevet Brachas. So it doesn't matter whether they mention the wedding, not mention. You eat by him a meal, asur. Mikam be'elach, but after 30 days, Omar le machmas hilul asur v'lo Omar le machmas hilul shari. 6 months later, you still can't eat by his house because if he mentions the wedding, he says we're doing a simcha, mamash, a barbecue to cover the new couple, also to eat there. And how long does this last for? A boy says, no, Amra Papa. It's the honeymoon. How long does the honeymoon last? 12 months. And before the wedding, how much is also? We start making the beer for the wedding. You start throwing in the barley into the barrel over there. That's it. It could be 6 months before. I don't know how long before. Can't do business with them. Can't eat there. What? And after 12 months, it's mutter. The guy made a wedding in 2020. Maybe it's also all the way to 2025. Why? He went to idol worshiper's house. It was 15 months later. And he hears the idol worshiper giving praise to his Avodah Zarah. Oh, thank you for bringing here Rav Yitzchak. Upeirash v'le'ochal. Rav Yitzchak got scared. He walked out of there without eating. Says the Gemara, Shani Rav Yitzchak b'reder mishar shedadam chashavu. This is different than all of Shas. Over here, when it says the Adam Chashavu, according to Rashi, there's other Rishonim that say it's the regular way. Adam Chashav doesn't mean that because he's Chashav, he's more makbid, like that Rav that gives a chumrah to the people that have a hat and jacket. Adam Chashav means because he's such a great person, so the guy gave a shvach. Imagine Trump showing up to your house. It doesn't matter. 16 months after the wedding. Wow. 12, no, it's even more. This was more than 12 months. Even more than 12 months, he says. By Adam Chashuv, Reb Menachem Ben the Fenster, the Belzer, his brother just got married to the granddaughter of the Belzer Rebbe. So one of the Gvirim made a Shever Brachas, and the Belzer Rav showed up. The thing is, he's in a wheelchair. So not a wheelchair. It's like his Rebbe chair with wheels. He had a stroke. So they couldn't get him into the elevator. It was off by 1-2 centimeters, and that was it. So he came. But it's a chashivas. You know what a chashivas is? The Belzer Rav was in my house. Look, I have pictures. He was here. Rav Yitzchok was in my house. Rav Yitzchok, you know what Rav Yitzchok is? This is what the Ovid Kachavim is saying. So even more than 12 months, the Adam Chashuv was going on that he's a celebrity. Not because he's Chashuv and he has to be more makbid in Avodah Zarah. Turning of the daf. Kiravation does in our sons Am Yisrael for learning Sanhedrin Makish was an Avodah Zarah with the rebellion. At our global, answering questions great again, anonymous, and honorable all the tzaddikim that work so hard to bring us the daf every day with no credit given. Enough said. Oh, here's a picture of the donuts that he brought yesterday. Moedik. Oh, by the way, what animal has one Karen today? The narwhal. Rabbi said, well, you didn't go. Safari pictures time. I said it has two. You're going to start saying that not. Okay, we had a show. Ukrateisim, my Krateisim. What's this Krateisim holiday? It's the day that Rome took over. I don't know if I read correctly. How long did the Roman Empire last for? Roman Empire. This is the day that the Roman Empire started, so they call it Krateisim. How long did it last for? Anybody know? It says 1,400 years, 1480. That's what I don't know if maybe I didn't put in the right information. How could you tell me that Krateisim means the day they took over? It says Mefurish, Krateisim plus another day, which is the day that they took over. So it can't be the Krateisim is the day they took over because it says V'yoim shetafsa by Remi Malchus. Omer Rav Yosef, no. Shteit Tfisas tafsa Remi. There's two big wins that they had, which by the way I just have to mention because it's bothering a lot of Yidden that in New York, the one that won the Democratic primary, who's most likely going to be the next mayor of New York, is a Sunni Yisrael. He denies the Holocaust. He's pro-Palestinians. He said if Bibi comes to New York, he's going to arrest him. He's a Russia Marusha, Meshugana he's going to hike the taxes. This is where the world is. They voted for him. The people of New York voted for him. Unbelievable. And this is Jews in New York voted. This is the new year. Omer Rav Yosef. Not Beseder, we have to daven. Omer Rav Yosef, Shteit Tfisas Tafsa Roy Miachas B'Meikal Patria, Cleopatra Malkaso. Ba'achas Shetafsa B'Mei Yevonim. And the other one happened in the time of the Greeks. The Romans had 32 battles with the Greeks and they couldn't beat them. So what did they do? Mamish, like we had last week, there's a shutfas between the Romans and the Jews. If you do a shutfas, according to Trump, it was a shutfas. He did 99% of the work and he brought the Jews in at the end. And they made a little. By the way, if anybody has something to do with the Air Force, I have just one shaila on the whole thing. If anybody, maybe Gil, you can answer. They built a $2 billion plane. So why is the video camera black and white? So schwach. I want to see the whole. Mom's a black and white. This is all these videos you get from Tzahal. F-35s. Let's get to the sugya. $130 million, but they can't even put on the Tesla video with high end the HD. I want to see the HD. I want to see everything blow up in HD. Black and white. $2 billion. Once we're talking about that, I don't understand why the Tesla doesn't have a video on the front. I want to see if I'm going to hit the wall. No, it costs too much. Little video camera. How's the video? $10. Sure. Talk to them. Says Gemara. This is a deal. That's just Rabbi side, the inside of a HD brain. You're holding in the middle of a sugyo?
The whole other level. HD.
You know my joke. Why people with ADHD, I just came up with this today also. People with ADHD, how come they're much smarter than everybody else? Because they say at the chaynan more times than everybody else. They say at the chaynan even on Shabbos. But now I have a noob shot. Raise your hand if you're with me. The reason why they're so smart is because they say the most Shemona Esrei ever. They never remember Yalav Yavai on Rosh Chodesh. Never. They can't. But they're mumchim, they say two Shemona Esreis, nobody will know, because they're embarrassed to do back and forth. So they just do a longer Shemona Esrei. They don't bend their knees so much, and nobody can. But trust me, they're saying more Shemona Esreis than everybody else. Okay, 1 hour. How many times do I have to tell you 1 hour? So they made a deal. If we are going to be kings, you'll be the governors. There's no such thing as two kings. We're going to do a partnership. We're going to go to battle against the Greeks. We're going to win. When we win, who's going to be the king? Either us or you. But if we're the kings, you're the governors. And if you're going to be the kings, we're going to be the governors. And the Romans sent to the Ivanim, much like today, you could say something very strong, you could stop a war right away. Until now, we're battling it out physically. Let's argue this out. Margol is Beben Toiva. You have a pearl and a very valuable stone. In other words, the stone is much more valuable than the pearl. What goes on the bottom? When you're building something, you're building a piece of jewelry, you're going to put the cheaper one on the bottom. They asked one question, Margol is Levin Toiva. Of course, the one that's less on the bottom. What if there's something that's more valuable than a precious stone? Which is, Rashi says, the Neubach, here, Neubach, and the red stone, it's a red stone from the Chayshin. So once again, the valuable stone is going to be on the bottom. The Neubach, which is more valuable on top. Now, what about Even Toiva Li'inach? Even Toiva Li'inach. So the Even Toiva is going to be on the bottom for the Inach. Inach v'Sefer Torah. If you have a Sefer Torah. Now they throw out to the Greeks, what about a Sefer Torah? Interesting. So they tell him, Inoch l'Sefer Torah. The valuable stone is going to be on the bottom. Shochlum Kain. You guys, let's say you're very, very super valuable, but guess what? Anan Sefer Torah Gabon. We have the Jews, Yisrael Badon. We have the Jews, we have the Sefer Torah. Here, there's a little bit of a picture here. Where was it? This? Yeah. I don't know. Oh, they have the Jews. We have the Romans and the Jews in the Sefer Torah. We're going to win. Kafalu. Oh, great taina. We give in. Says the Gemara, you do a deal like that, guess what? It could last maybe 26 years. All of a sudden the Romans decided, no good deal. They subjugated the Jews to them. Says the Gemara, here's a makar for this thing that I never understood it. Some people tell me these vartim on Pesach. I hear, what was Parry thinking when he went into this? Oh, Parry was thinking like the Tzois and Baba Basra and Daf Nun Hey, but then he thought to himself, wait a minute, the Nesivus is right. So that's why he took it back and told Klai Yisrael this. Are you sure? Yeah. Over here, here's the Yisoid. Mikar my Darush, Nisav and Elcha Ve'echa Negdecha. You never heard a pshat like that before?
It's full of these pshats.
Are you serious?
What's Par's cheshbon? You have no idea.
Really? He's not cheshbon back and forth.
He's like holding Kabbalah. So yeah. He's everywhere. Par's everywhere.
So I didn't make it up. Okay, good. Nisav and Elcha Ve'echa. Oh, the Romans are saying, look, it says before in the Pasuk, Nisav and Elcha Ve'echa Negdecha. Let's go together. Yaakov, Esav. Esav tells Yaakov, let's go together. Okay, so we're together. We're both going to rule. Well, but then the Romans said, no, what do you mean? It says in the Pasuk, Yaakov Avinu said, it's either me or you. You know what? You go first. The Romans said, we go first. We're going to subjugate you. How do we know there's 26 years? We have this sugya, it's beautiful. Tell us 2 or 3 things that you said in the name of your father. 180 years before the Churban of Bayis Sheni, the Romans came in and took over. And 80 years before the Churban of Bayis, Chacham said, you go into you go into Chutz La'aretz, you got to be careful. There's bones everywhere, dead people buried. They don't mark their graves. The whole Chutz La'aretz is tummy. And they said that glassware is also Mekabel Tumah. And 40 years before the Churban Abayis, Golsa Sanhedrin, we had the Sanhedrin was where? In the Lishkas HaGazas, in the Beis HaMikdash. They left the Beis HaMikdash, we're going to see, it's very important. Even though they left the Beis HaMikdash, V'yoshvela b'chanus, next door, in a place called Chanus on Har HaBayis. It's a huge nafkimina. Since they're not in the Beis HaMikdash, everything changes. What's the difference? So they went to Chanus. Isn't this the same Rav Yitzchak Bar Avdimi we had before? No. So, says Rav Yitzchak Bar Avdimi, there's no more penalties. In other words, for oines, mefata, the 30 of an eved, anything that has a set amount, no more knossos. Says the Gemara, din knossos. What do you mean? Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava Shemai. So Avrami Cohen sent me this last night. This is Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava's Matseva, and this Gemara is there word for word. If you want, you can read it off of this. Baram Zocha Yisrael Toiv. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava Shemai. Shilmalahu, but without him, Din Knossos Yisrael, there wouldn't be any more penalties. So the Gemara's question is, Rabbi Yisai, that he lived much later. What are you telling me that in the Churban Abayis, there's no 40 years before the Churban, there's no Knas here. Here's it says before there was Din Knossos. Nishtako says Gemara, Nishtako, why would be forgotten? Like we're seeing, like today, we learn Gemara, we'll learn about Knas. What's the big deal? No, Elabatlu Din Knossos Yisrael. They stopped collecting the Knas from Klal Yisrael. Why? Because this is a Gzeira, whoever. You know what? We could stop here. We could do the story tomorrow. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDAF.com.